Sinners, were you raised up in religion to believe that sinning meant that you were doing something bad or wrong? Well, if so, sorry to break it to you, but you've been innocently bamboozled by people who are innocently bamboozled by people who are innocently bamboozled and so forth. To sin doesn't mean to do something bad or wrong. To sin means to miss the point, right? Or to believe things that aren't true. The original term sin comes from archery, and it meant the distance between the bullseye and where your arrow landed, right? So it showed you by how much you had missed your target or missed your mark. Notice how there's no judgment in that. It's not, you missed the bullseye? Well, you're a bad person. You've done something wrong. It's, yeah, you're off by about that much. But over the centuries, you can see how easy it would be for people to start misconstruing it as such. And then add to the mix that the institutional church has a tendency to capitalize on people's guilt and shame by rule making. We've all probably heard the 10 Commandments, right? Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that. They're rules, but check this out. There's a guy named Emmett Fox who argues that a more accurate translation than you shall not would be you cannot. You can't. You can't steal, ultimately, because nothing belongs to anybody. And you can't commit adultery because nobody belongs to anybody else. Might be a little too societally game-changing there. But my point is that the church, just like with the word sin, changes the meaning or shifts a word or two around to tip things in the favor of rules. Now, bear with me here. I want to blow your mind. If sin actually means to miss the point of life by believing things that aren't true, then to believe that you're bad or wrong or sinful or have broken the rules is the sin. Now, I haven't even mentioned the most important part of this whole thing, which is that when we're in emotional repression, we have to believe that we're bad, wrong, sinful, and have broken the rules. We have to stay safe and to get love from the rule makers. And if that sounds a little like Stockholm Syndrome, it's because it's exactly what it is. Now, the bad news is, just because we know that we're hostages doesn't change the fact that we're hostages, right? As they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, self-knowledge avails us nothing. You can know you're an alcoholic and still drink yourself to death, or know you're a hostage and still stay stuck in that hostage situation because of the repression of buried emotions in the body. So let these things be an indicator that you've still got emotional repression work to do. Identities like, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I've broken the rules, guilt, shame, disconnection from yourself, addiction, chronic pain, suffering in general. If any of these things are happening, then by the new definition of sin, you're a sinner because you're believing things that aren't true and staying repressed and suffering as a result. You're not really a sinner, by the way. Believing so, along with believing anything that causes suffering, would just be another sin. If you'd like to learn more about this, visit repressiontest.com.